if you're anything like me, you are an American and you're impatient and you want your stuff and you want it now. But back in the day, guess what? People wanted their stuff and they wanted it now too. But how do you get stuff back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s now? How do you get it like today? Well, there were these things called, there was this agency called the Railway Express Agency. And whether you were looking for, say, dry goods, like a box in the mail, like this, or you wanted, say, eggs and you wanted them fresh, you had to wait unless you put it on the car behind me. This car is the Railway Express Agency number 7018. And this thing has a great story to tell us today. And James and I are going to be going through this car, giving you a nice up-close view about it, telling you about the Railway Express Agency, as well as how in 1955, when this thing was built, it was the kind of in the dying throes of express mail and things and items that you wanted today. And something else to point out about this car that I find rather fascinating is before there was FedEx, UPS, heck, Amazon, for that matter, there was the Railway Express Agency. And so we are going to learn about that today. This is going to be a really fun one. Of course, I say that in all the videos, but I promise you it will. All right, so we promised you a little bit of history about the REA. Well, okay, not a little bit. We'll give you as much as we can. So the first express agency, period, railroad or otherwise, in the United States was actually formed in 1839 by a guy named William Harridan. And he had a little inner city route right between New York City and Boston. And that was the first time in American history that we see something that you want your stuff, and you get it like that.
And over time, these express agencies, they proliferated. Most railroads started having their own. A lot of times they would kind of split off, become their own thing, consolidate. At the same time, there were also a lot of refrigerator lines that came up on their own.
Smaller lines too, back in the day, things like Wells Fargo. They're actually two guys. Last names were Wells and Fargo.
Don't know if you've heard of them.
You may have. And there were other agencies too. I think at the beginning of World War I, there were roughly 7 to 8 different express agencies. And at the beginning of the war, that was kind of the height of this. Now where they really got the most bang for their buck, if you will, was during the Gilded Age. A little bit of reading about that led me into, man, at the height of the Gilded Age and into the beginning of World War I, express agencies began this climb of, we can transfer your stuff, we can get it here now, and no more waiting for the slow train to come into the depot or whatever else.
If you were willing to pay.
You had to pay because otherwise you were going to get it, I don't know, weeks, 2 weeks.
This was the express airmail of its day.
Before there was FedEx, before there was UPS and Amazon, as I said earlier, there was the Railway Express Agency.
Now, in World War I, the U.S. consolidated all of the railroads under the U.S. Railroad Administration under government control. That included the Railway Express Agency.
But it was not known as that. It was known as the American Railway Express.
Now, after the war, essentially the operations had become so conglomerated that it was decided not to separate them back out into their individual member components.
Legally and on paper, that's a pain in the butt. Separating corporations like that, especially government control.
By 1927, we had the Railway Express Agency, who basically, so they would take these cars like this, like the 7018 behind me. Most Railway Express cars actually ran on passenger trains because these were the fastest trains of the time. So if you needed something quick, Railway Express Agency. So that actually can take us into a number of the interesting features of this car.
Yes. And so let's get you up close and personal with REA 7018.
So this car was built in 1955, and as I mentioned, express cars were meant to go on passenger trains. So one thing that's interesting about this car here, as you can see, if you look at the trucks, it actually has high-speed trucks. So you can see.
And what does that mean, James? Tell me.
Well, what that means is these are, if I'm not mistaken, these are swing hanger trucks, which means that they're compensated not just up and down, but they can also allow
a lateral
motion, which keeps everything safe and stable at high speeds. They also have roller bearings. In 1955, that was pretty state-of-the-art. Hyatt roller bearings. Yeah, these were meant to go on any passenger train. So that could mean a local train. A lot of times it meant a fast, long-distance train.
Express, yes.
Another thing you can see here, this car was built
1955.
1955. It's kind of the end of an era. Mechanical refrigerator cars were just starting to come into service.
And popularity, too.
Yes, and popularity. This is still a traditional refrigerator car, which means inside of here
and we'll get you up there.
Are large chutes, which would be filled with ice and periodically refilled. But what's right here, this is a chute for melted ice and water to come out of here.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
And obviously, you can see where it sits on the track, so this would be free and clear of the track and hopefully the ballast and the ties, and just go right onto whatever earth was out here. These
cars were built to be used both for refrigerated cargoes like food, as well as dry cargoes. So you can see, you can't see, but on the inside of here is
we can go on the other side.
That's
true. Go on the other side? Let's take a walk, people. Walk with us. James will keep talking to you.
As we're walking around here, we can see one thing, since this was meant to run on passenger trains, most passenger trains at the time were steam heated. So this started in the age of steam because you had a giant steam generator at the front of the train in the form of a locomotive.
And if it was a diesel, it would still have a steam generator.
But that was more of a retrofit kind of thing because most of the passenger car stock at the time was still steam heated.
Correct.
Eventually we move on to, with diesels, we move on to head-end power and electric heating in
that's a whole nother video for another time.
But you see right here, this is the steam line for the train. So this would run all the way down to the end of the train and provide heat to anything that needed it, cars, that sort of thing. So you can see that's a very unique feature to this express car.
And something to point out that James was hinting at here was this was literally just a transfer point. So this is the A end, and we'll show you the B end here in a minute. But if this is the A end and the locomotive is here, then what would happen is it would be coupled here, and the steam line from the locomotive would come down where James is, couple into here, and this was literally just a transfer of the steam heat through the car.
Cars that needed it in the back, the passenger
and it was just a feeding line. All it did was just continue to feed it from the locomotive to the cars. And so that way you could get into the radiators and do its thing, and people could stay toasty. Let's keep going.
Another interesting feature of this car is it has a Type F coupler. It has these.
What's a Type F, James?
Well, that's a common passenger train coupler. A lot of times they'll have these shelves on them, and what this does is it limits the amount of vertical movement that the coupler can have.
Upsies, downsies.
Yes, which is important. It just keeps passenger trains a little bit more sure-footed. It keeps
stable.
Yeah, stable. They're very common in passenger service, so that's why this is meant to have them. The Oriole Sleeper behind us right here
actually has that one as well.
Also has a similar setup to allow these cars to be used together.
Actually, if you ride the Mark 1, well, it's not the Mark 1.
The Mile 1 Express.
The Mile 1 Express,
Museum, it also
has it on there, and you can see those.
If you feel like getting down and taking a close look.
Let's keep moving here.
So coming around here, you can see.
Oh, we'll talk. The door's a little bit ajar, so why don't we take a peek there?
Yeah, you can see.
I'm going to show you this.
The inside of these cars, you can see a little bit here.
It's a little bit of wood.
We're lined with wood, all kinds of materials. You got a little bit of fabric there, some other stuff. These cars were meant to be insulated. They were meant to be refrigerated if they needed to be. They were also just meant to be, they could handle dry cargoes. And these doors, these are plug doors. So
explain how these work, James.
What this does is when they're closed, they sink into the side of the car, plug the hole, create a really nice seal, and keep everything inside. To unlock them, they first have to be drawn out using this big screw here. They come out, and then they can be slid down the side of the car like a typical boxcar.
Yeah, so you see the track here. There's a track here, and this is just friction, but these would be lubed with grease as they went in for service. And like James said, these would kind of do one of these numbers. They come out, and then this would just slide along to the end. So speaking of the end, why don't we go down to the B end here, and let's have a look, see what we can see on the B end. And this, actually, it's kind of cool here. Let's point this out. So this is the original red primer that these cars were done in. And this was a turquoise, which was not actually the popular color of the cars. The most popular color was the foresty, Pullman-y type green. Yeah, that's the most famous color you're going to ever see on these cars. Is the and the big badge logo, that famous red diamond on there, was said REA.
Now this is a little bit later. In the 50s, I don't remember exactly when, the Railway Express Agency starting to face competition from trucking and air service. Interestingly, the REA actually also contracted express airmail service until, I believe, the 50s or 60s.
I think you're right, yep.
But the REA rebranded itself as REA Express. And you can see it says REAX here. This is sort of the a later
iteration.
Yeah. As things kind of started to move away from railroads, passenger trains started getting canceled in the 60s and 70s. Eventually,
due to the rise of
the automobile
and airplanes.
Airplanes.
And why is that, you may ask? Well, we don't get into politics here on this channel, but the federal government in the early 50s really took hold with things like beginning to subsidize airports and beginning to do this wonderful thing called the highway system started under the Eisenhower administration. So did the government have it out for the railroads? Meh. I would not say that at all, but there was a lot of intervention from the federal government that led to the eventual demise of the railroads.
So we have here this car, the REX Railway Express, REA Express, eventually went out of business in 1975 after
it was a rough going out.
A protracted demise.
Bankruptcy
involving
and
fraud, bankruptcy.
Oh, it was litigations out the wazoo. Oh, it was bad. Read about it sometime, people. Read. It was bad. Oh, we actually want to point out something real quick about the trucks.
That's right.
Speaking of the trucks that we did earlier on the other side, it was said, and I've read this in multiple places, book-wise, is that the Railroad Express Agency had such a fleet of trucks that they literally owned one type of every truck brand you could afford: International Harvester, GMC, Chevrolet, Dodge, blah, 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 all the ones back in the day, Packard and the rest of them. Anybody that made a truck, REA bought at least one. And that was what they were hugely famous for, other than the green color and the big red logo. Let's go look at the B end real quick, James. Unless there's something else here you want to point out.
Nope. B end is pretty much the same as the A end. You can see we got our handbrake up here, pretty typical placement.
It's just a wheel brake, so you spin that. Let's tell the people how it works again. So spin the wheel.
Spin that wheel.
It got slack right now.
It's slack right now, but that pulls up the chain. As that tensions, it sets the brake onto the wheels. Same thing here. You can see the steam pipe. You got the Type F coupler right here with the shelves.
So if this were coupled to another F coupler, you would have that big
that big lug would fit in right here.
Fit in there. So.
It just keeps it a little bit more secure.
Correct.
And the only other thing that makes this different, this is a refrigerated car.
Yes.
And up at the top on the roof, there are some chutes to install ice. Yeah.
Yes, we'll get you up there.
Yeah, lead into these big caverns, and we'll take a look at that in just a sec.
Stay tuned. Okay, so James and I have ascended the car. We took the preferred method, which is safely ascending the ladder that the brakeman and any person, conductor, etc., would have to take, where you can lock your brake wheel down there. And here's the walkway that goes throughout the length of the car.
And you can see right here we have a closed hatch for the ice. You can see it has a whole lash mechanism there that keeps it in place while the train's moving. Right here, you can see this is what this looks like open. You can see this raised ridge around here that allows the hatch to seal. In here, there would be wood. There's a little bit of rubber right here.
Some insulating material.
Yep, that keeps it insulated. And down there in the hatch, you can see the galvanized steel ice compartment. You can see at the bottom there are drains there, so as the ice melts over time, it can drain out those chutes that we showed you earlier.
Yes, and so this is a really neat thing to point out to people is, even though this car, again, was built in 1955 by the, who is now called FedEx, the General American Transportation company, even though in 1955, this was it still had ice chutes on it. And I think that's just absolutely fascinating. So, that's all really for the up top. I mean, it's the same on the A end as it is on the B end. So let's get down the ground and finish this guy. One more thing before we get down on the ground, James is going to show you how the locking mechanism works for the ice chute.
This swings out over here, comes down across like that, then this bolt slides into place right there.
And so that way when you're doing 70, 80 miles an hour, this door cannot fly open and, well, eject ice and other fun things out into the atmosphere.
And that's right. And this also, what this also lets you do is lock this in a sort of half up, half down position.
Oh, show the people that.
So there's multiple different holes here. You can hold it in place.
Yes, okay. Yeah, so the car could be kind of elevated to a degree. This hatch could be elevated to where you could lock it to where maybe you need a little bit of ventilation coming in there. So you could lock it in the here. You have multiple positions. So let's get down on the ground.
We hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about this car behind us, the Railway Express Agency number 7018. It is a kind of a glimpse into the past way of logistics.
Moving things from A to B, and more importantly, in a quick fashion. Because
yes, an express fashion.
If you're an American, or really anybody in the world right now, you want your stuff and
you want it now.
You want it now. So this is Trevor.
This is James
from History on the Move, and we hope you enjoyed this video as much as we hope you enjoyed watching it, as much fun as we had making it, because this was a hoot and a holler. And stay tuned, we got some other good stuff coming your way. This is, again, we're at the B&O Railroad Museum, so come here, visit. This place is great. They have
see for yourself.
See for yourself. This is a one of a kind. I don't think I've been to many places where I do see one like this. So check it out. Again, History on the Move at the B&O Railroad Museum. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.